I would love to tell everybody about your background, Mr. Sheppard, and even go back to your father. I know your father was a gangster, and you've said this on several shows and interviews and things. So I'm not speaking out of line, but he was also known as the godfather of payola. Now, Lonzo is very familiar with payola. Not our audience, though. Can you talk to us about your father and how you got into the music game?
Well, first of all, I was born in what they say in the industry, they call it being born in the purple. And that means I saw the blueprint of what was laid down to start black music in America. Now, you must understand something. I consider myself, and there's no doubt about this, and this is not patting myself on the back, I have just been around for 47 years, from Chicago to Compton, and I know what it takes to make a hit record. My father and my uncle started the first black record company in America, not Motown. My father, Bunky Sheppard, my uncle, Ewart Abner, and Vivian Carter and Jimmy Bracken, those four people started VJ Records, which was the first black-owned major record company in the United States. Now, not only were they the first, they signed the Beatles.
Act.
Yeah, you heard me right. You heard me right.
Oh, I'm
They
hip. Tell
signed
him.
the Beatles, and the name of the album was Introducing the Beatles. And VJ Records, unfortunately, just like any black record company in the United States, was having difficulty getting financing. So they had to let the group go, and they did a deal with Capitol Records where the Beatles are still at today. That's history. Now,
real history.
Also, in my basement at my house in Chicago, we used to have a little recording studio where the Dells used to come, the Shylights, Gene Chandler. Gene Chandler recorded the Duke of Earl in my basement.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it when he came in with a cape draped around him.
Oh, cape. Okay.
So when I'm talking to you about this, I'm giving you history. Now, after my dad and my uncle and VJ disbanded, my father and my uncle, Ewart Abner, were contacted by Motown, were contacted by Berry Gordy. And Mr. Gordy asked my dad and my uncle to come over to Motown to take over the company, which they did in 1978, and led the company to their most prosperous times.
And led to you bunking with the Jacksons also, right, for a time period.
I grew up with the Jacksons. I did talent shows. I'm from Chicago on the south side, and they're from Gary, Indiana, which is like Compton and Watts. That's how far the difference is. 10, 15 minutes. So we developed a relationship with one another, and we kept that relationship up until this very day. As a matter of fact, when I moved out to Los Angeles, Miss Jackson considered me one of her sons, and she let me live with them. So believe me, I represented the family for 2 years. Jermaine and I went into business together. And I'm just saying this to say I've done business at a level that most people have never and will never do business at. This is not, again, this is not a situation to say, oh, look at me. No, it's just I've been doing this for 47 years at the top level. And it's just what it is.
I have a question for you, and I would love you and Lonzo to chat about this because I feel like you would have some similarities or you would understand this. But I was listening to one of your interviews, Mr. Sheppard, and when you came into the game, you were given advice from someone. And that advice was not to let the rappers you work with smile. Can you please explain to us what happened back in the day when a rapper smiled?
Well, you must understand, when I left Motown, I was working in Motown as a writer-producer, and I was producing R&B love songs. I produced for the Temptations, I produced for the Pointer Sisters, Gerald Alston, the Manhattans. I did a lot of hit records. So when I got into rap music, it was in 1994 with DJ Battlecat. We hooked up. He went into the studio. He said, Stan, I want to work with you. I had talked with Harry O. We had bonded together at that time because Harry O was working with Battlecat. And we developed a great relationship. And we started recording from there. And it was just an incredible journey that I went on. And let me say this to you. DJ Battlecat introduced me to DJ Quick because DJ Battlecat was the first artist I ever worked with. And let me say this. I was the first person to ever have a gangster rap label at Capitol Records. I had a label called G-Vine Entertainment. And I launched several artists through there. And during that time, Battlecat introduced me to Quick. We developed a great relationship. And 12 years later, Quick and I worked together. It was just a lovely situation.
And that, talk to me, because I want to know specifically about the smiling thing. Apparently, if a gangster rapper smiled, their record sales went down 50%.
Yeah, it's like, the only way I can say it, when I got into the game, I was 52 years old. And people told me, they said, Stan, you can't have your rappers show their teeth. And I said, what do you mean you can't have the rappers show their teeth? Said if they show their teeth, they look weak. I said, oh, really? So this is all entertainment then? They said, yeah, basically. So I looked back at all the West Coast albums that had come out before I got into the rap game, and they were right. There were no teeth being shown. Everybody was snarling. And that's the only thing that was moving units. So I told everybody on my label, not that they were going to smile, but we couldn't have it.
Lonzo, what say you about that, man?
Man, you know what? He got me laughing because I was never told not to smile. But on our first album, I don't think we smiled on any of our album covers. He wasn't pushing gangster rap. I don't think I have to look at. I don't know. I know my first album cover. I wasn't smiling. Nobody was smiling. We had this kind of distant, straight face. Looks like a blank fake look on our faces, and we never in the Wrecking Crew was not a gangster rap group by no means. And on the second album we did, Wrapped in Romance, I don't think we showed no teeth on that one either.
Hey, Lonzo, I really looked back, and now remember, I'm being educated, right? I'm not knowing what's going on, right? And They said, Stan, You got Sugar Free coming out. You got Mossberg. You got Quick. You got Cocaine. You got DJ Battle. All these people. There ain't nobody smiling, man.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out. Okay, well, nobody's gonna smile on my label. You ain't got to tell me twice.
Right.
Man, you know what? I know everybody has questions. Did you want to say something, Lonzo?
No, I'm looking at this. Somebody in the chat room was trying to fuck with me. Black Basketball Channel talk about I was wearing makeup. I still was the hardest motherfucker. Okay, still beat the nigga's ass. So don't get it twisted.
With mascara and all shit.
What you say, Lonzo?
I wash my face and whoop your ass. Don't get it fucked up. Okay.